The trouble started along this street, where there's a Pizza Hut, and just down the block, a McDonald's. A week before, there'd been a scuffle between rival teenagers. Now there are rumors there's going to be a full-scale fight. It's 10:01, the first call to 911.
They're a pack of kids, and they're really noisy, and they're screaming. Inside the McDonald's? In the parking lot, please.
A few minutes later, at 10:10, a customer at the McDonald's drive-thru has a window smashed.
I have a bunch of kids out of my pocket, and I just broke one of my customers' windows.
If I was sitting there waiting for my hamburger, all of a sudden a window breaks in my car. That's a pretty terrifying thing for anybody.
Experts say the call from McDonald's should get a high priority as a crime in progress. But 911 doesn't ask the right follow-up questions.
All right. Is anybody hurt? Is it going on right now? Would lead you to proper classification of the call.
But at 911, a critical mistake. The call is coded vandalism, priority 6, the lowest. 10:13, the tape show a nearby police department in the suburbs has heard about the trouble.
We have a report of a disturbance. Juveniles throwing rocks at the McDonald's.
Another report, but still no police have been dispatched. 10:20, some of the kids are moving behind McDonald's to an auto body shop.
Can you send some police over here to 79?
Because it looked really bad with baseball bats and everything.
Bill Donnelly could see the trouble out his office window.
What are they doing?
Wow, busting up the cars, windows and everything.
But astonishingly, Donnelly's call is coded disorderly crowd, priority 5. The minutes pass, 10:25, 10:30, half an hour and 4 different calls to 911, but still no help. And things are getting worse.
And I remember saying, oh my gosh, I got bats. And I ran towards the phone and...
Vicky Petrosky was waiting tables that night at the Pizza Hut.
The phone rang and rang and rang and rang. And
when more cars pulled in, kids armed with bats jumping out.
We have a gang of at least 50 young kids with bats outside beating each other.
I just remember being scared because they're just moving so fast. You could tell they're after somebody.
It is 10:37. The fight is moving up the street.
I don't believe this. It's rang about 10 times. There's a big commotion going outside in front of our home like a gang fight.
At 911, so many phones are ringing, there aren't enough operators to take all the calls.
These police records obtained by Dateline show that the phones were ringing so long that 29 calls just hung up before 911 answered.
It's a gang fight.
There's a kid hurt out there. All right. Did you get that?
Yeah, a kid is hurt outside of the fight. Right? Was that it?
Yeah, that's it. Send the police car to them.
Wait a minute. You asked me, and I'm asking you.
What?
I have the information. You can hang up now.
All along the street, the calls to 911 are pouring in.
I'd like to report a disturbance.
There seems to be a lot of gang fighting out front of my house.
And there is a tremendous amount of kids out there, like, fighting and...
But at 911, each call is being handled by a different operator. 9 different calls so far, but no one's figured out they're coming from the same area. Back at the auto body shop, the fight is getting worse.
And when I saw the kids getting beaten, that's when I made my second call.
Yeah, could you get a couple cars over here? We've got like about 50 teenagers, baseball bats, a gang fight down in the...
It is 10:41, 40 minutes since the first call to 911.
Wearing a baseball cap.
Only now is the first squad car being dispatched. But because of the delay, it's being sent to the wrong place.
Pizza Hut, McDonald's parking lot. Check for several males on with baseball bats.
What's more, because of the coding, it is not an emergency call. No lights, no siren, no hurry.
And we watched, more kids come, and then...
Meanwhile, Jane Phillips and her neighbors watch as the fight moves past their homes.
And they kept calling and calling and calling.
We've been calling. Everybody in the damn neighborhood has been calling there. And we got a near riot, and there's no damn police around here.
Caught in the middle of the mayhem, trying desperately to get home, Eddie Polec and his younger brother Billy. It is 10:44. Still no police.
This is one of the sisters that came to see his convent.
From a window in the convent next to the church, a nun is watching.
There's a bunch of kids out in the parking lot, and it looks like they're beating up one kid.
As Eddie Polec is being beaten.
In the parking lot? Yes. I'll throw someone out. Thank you.
You could hear it. You could see the bat. You seen the bat going up, and you heard people screaming, and you heard bats going, like hitting people.
How did you code the second call?
A fight on the highway.
Priority 3.
Priority 3.
Nicole Burton is the 911 operator who took the nun's call. 43 minutes after the first report of trouble, the 13th call from the neighborhood. And still, she assigns it only a middle priority.
You know what was happening out there. I mean, he was being held up and beaten with baseball bats.
3 months later, I know that. November 11th at 10:44, I had no idea.
But you didn't ask. You didn't follow up.
The policy was you go by what they tell you. You enter what they tell you.
Is she conscious right now?
But experts say if 911 fails to ask basic questions, they're sure to misjudge real emergencies.
If she'd asked about weapons, what might she have found out?
They were present. Response needs to start.
If she'd asked about injuries?
There were. EMS needed to respond.
And if she had asked about descriptions of the assailants?
There were assailants, possible quicker apprehension.
All of those questions should have been asked.
Yes.
It looks like they're beating up one kid. 500 Ron, ma'am? 525 Ron. In the parking lot? Yes. Want to send someone else?
The city said there was nothing wrong with the handling of that call. True?
As far as that particular call was concerned, no, that's correct.
No follow-up questions?
That's correct.
Richard Neal is Philadelphia's police commissioner, the man in charge of 911. He says his operators are trained to ask questions and are supposed to be monitored carefully when they start taking real calls. So why weren't important questions being asked when Eddie Polec was being beaten?
No questions were asked about weapons. No questions were asked about injuries. There was hardly any follow-up question here at all. Is this acceptable?
Could I review that?
Sure.
Commissioner Neal asked to see our transcript of the call and then left the interview, saying he wanted to check some of his own notes.
4413.
A few minutes later, he was back. No new information about the call from the nun, but saying overall he was satisfied with the quality of the questioning.
A couple of those calls, we have cases where the call taker stayed on the line with the person a significant amount of time in terms to solicit that kind of information.
Beating the hell out of people with baseball bats up here.
It's 10:45. The calls are more urgent, but the response is no better.
When are you going to send somebody?
Who's got a bat, sir?
Who got a bat? Some gorilla. What the hell do you mean?
Wait a minute. Don't talk to me like that. I asked you a question. Who has the bat?
There's a man got a bat.
Is he black or white or Hispanic?
What's going on up here?
44 minutes since the first call for help, and still no police, even though officials now admit squad cars were available. On the steps of St. Cecilia's Church, Eddie Polec lies bleeding. A friend is running down the block to a payphone at the library.
My friend's bleeding. He needs the hospital. He's bleeding.
Where's he at?
He's at St. Cecilia's at the church.
I can't understand you. Give me an address.
He's at St. Cecilia's.
And where's that at?
It's on Oxford Avenue.
Oxford and what?
It's like... Oh, my God.
Listen. If you don't calm down, he gets no help. Do you understand that much?
I'm trying.
Eddie Polec is still clinging to life. He needs help, and he needs it fast. But 911 is about to make a new series of mistakes. Eddie Polec lies dying on the steps of a Philadelphia church, beaten by a mob of teenagers with baseball bats. For more than 40 minutes, frantic calls to 911 have failed to bring police. Now, can an ambulance reach Eddie in time? As our Dateline investigation continues with new and shocking information about this case, one of Eddie's friends is pleading for help.
My friend, he needs the hospital. He's bleeding. Oh, my God.
Listen. If you don't calm down, he gets no help. Do you understand that much?
I'm trying.
I didn't realize they were being rude to me or nothing because I was too upset. And when they told me to calm down, I knew I had to anyway.
It was Eddie's friend, Teresa Weck, who left his side to call for help.
When you got to this point, a bunch of cars were coming in this way?
Teresa says she'd been walking home with a friend when she saw the cars pull in and attack Eddie. It happened on the church steps across the street from a public school.
What kind of condition was Eddie in when you went to make the call?
He was horrible. He was choking and coughing.
So you got to tell me, Oxford and where?
Oh, God. You know where Fox Chase School is?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I was just trying to tell them where to go. And I couldn't think of any of the streets. I couldn't even think of the street I was at.
All right, what happened to him?
He got beat with a bat.
All right, and the people that beat him, are they still there?
No.
Hold on, I'm going to connect you to rescue. You tell him where he is.
Okay.
I remember they told me to hold on, and they put somebody else on, and then I had to start the whole thing all over again.
Rescue.
My bike got beat with a bat. He's at St. Cecilia's Church.
What?
St. Cecilia's.
What's your address? What's the address? Where's it at?
They were taking forever, and I didn't know what was going on.
What Teresa Weck didn't know is this. At the 911 center, the operator already knows where she's calling from. The address of the payphone has popped up automatically on the computer.
What's the address? Where's it at?
Listen, you can hear 911 advising the rescue dispatcher.
She's calling from 501 Ron Street by the Free Library.
Yeah, I'm at the Free Library, but my friend is at St. Cecilia's.
So they knew exactly where you were. 501 Ron Street by the Free Library.
They should have been up there by then. I mean, they could at least come up there and found me.
Instead of starting an ambulance immediately, 911 keeps Teresa Weck on the phone for more than 2 minutes, trying to figure out the location on a major street near a school, a library, and a church.
Ron and where?
I think it's ours, but I'm not sure. It's at St. Cecilia's Church. He's right from the church.
And what's wrong?
Do you know how many times you mentioned St. Cecilia's Church during that conversation?
About 10 times.
Exactly 10 times. You had given them landmarks. You gave them the Fox Chase School, you gave them St. Cecilia's repeatedly.
I don't know what else I could have told them.
Experts say there's no excuse for the delay.
Within the first couple of lines of that, they have available the location of the victim.
What should have happened at that point?
In this case, St. Cecilia's is in the phone book.
So after hearing it once or twice or 3 times, the simple act of picking up a telephone book could have located that church in a matter of seconds.
Yes.
But as incredible as it may seem, Dateline discovered at the 911 call center in Philadelphia, the operators don't have phone books, not even maps.
So where you're sitting as a 911 operator, you don't have a map that you can consult?
No, I don't. You just go on your basic knowledge.
Why don't individual call takers have maps at their stations?
That is one of the issues that we're looking at today in terms of maps.
Okay, it's right near Ron and Eric? No, that's good cross street. She's probably talking about Ron and Marie.
In that one particular call, the operator stayed on the line and was able to pinpoint where the person was trying to direct the emergency vehicle to.
It's a St. Cecilia's Church. He's right at the church.
Okay, Ron and Marie is close to where she's calling from. Okay, we're on the way.
Thank you.
It's been 2.5 minutes since Teresa dialed 911, 47 minutes since the first call that night. Only now is help being dispatched. And guess what? It's about to go to the wrong place. St. Cecilia's Church is at the corner of Ron and Ridgeway, not Ron and Varee. Because 911 didn't know the address of a Catholic church or a public school, the ambulance was being sent to the wrong address, 3 blocks away.
And where was the emergency vehicle dispatched?
The emergency vehicle was dispatched to the location of the church.
No, it was not. Did you know that? Were you aware of that?
The emergency...
Went to Ron and Varee.
Attention, Medic 6. Ron Street and Varee Road in front of the church.
It wasn't worth me running it on the phone because nothing happened from it. I shouldn't even bother. I might as well have just stayed there with them and watch them bleed to death.
The untold truth is this. The ambulance that finally came for Eddie Polec got to the right place because a police car, on its way to that old report of trouble at the Pizza Hut, was flagged down in the street, the police officer using his radio to call for help.
Rescue over here at Ron and Ridgeway in front of the church. We got a kid down. Looks like he was beat up.
12 hours later, Eddie Polec died. 7 fractures to his skull.